Apple just announced the iPhone 14 starting at 800 US dollars, still running at a refresh rate of 60 Hz, and none of your favorite YouTubers, influencers, glorified salesmen are whining. Hey peeps, what's up? Munchie here, back with another video. And Apple just launched the iPhone 14, $800 device, still having a refresh rate of 60 Hz. And you will not hear a peep from any of your influencers, YouTubers, glorified salesmen. Why? Well, before we get down to business, let me give you a brief context. So, this here is the Google Pixel 6a. Now, the refresh rate on this one is 60 Hz. It does not have a 90 Hz refresh rate. And when this device was launched, all of your favorite YouTubers, influencers were whining and complaining that it does not have a 90 hertz refresh rate in 2022. And before you come to me and tell me, hey Manji, I can get my Redmi's, my Pocos, my real memes for less than that, having 120 hertz refresh rate, the context here is a bit different, right? Those devices are not available in the States. And even if they are available in India, what do you get with those devices? The hardware is not as good, right? The Pixel 6a has the best chip Google has made, which is Google Tensor. The cameras here, even though the sensor is almost 5 years old, it can still beat most of those mid-range devices. So you get what you pay for, plus you have bloat-free, no advertisement UI. Can you claim that for your Xiaomi's and your Realme's? I don't think so. So that conversation out of the way. Nobody is crying about the fact that the iPhone 14 has a 60 Hz refresh rate. If you have a look at the first impressions, the first look videos, you will see a pretty general theme. So they will start by saying we have the A15 processor. Nowhere in those videos will they tell you that A15 is a year old processor. Right now, what if Google launches a device, say the Pixel 7a with Tensor Generation 1? Everybody will have their in a bunch because they'll be like, oh, Google is using an old chip. But when it comes to Apple, you dare not mention that. Next up, you will notice that the feature they will portray next is your crash detection on your iPhone 14 series. Nowhere will they mention it that Android has had it before Apple iPhone 14 got it. In fact, you will not see any mention of Android in any of Apple's videos made by these glorified salesmen. Now, if the same glorified salesman makes a video about the Pixel and there is a feature which Google might have brought on over from the iPhones, they will be more than happy to mention it. Hey, they got it from iPhone or iOS had this feature. But when it is about Apple's products, you dare not mention anything about Android or even use the word Android in your videos. Another example is the iPhone 14s still have this notch situation on the top. The Androids have a more refined solution of the punch hole camera. But same YouTubers, same influencers will not mention that the notch is still there. There'll be no mention of the notch, but they will be more than happy to mention that you still have the punch hole camera on the Androids. And then coming back to the main point of this video, which is your refresh rate. When they talk about the iPhone 14, iPhone 14 Plus, they will tell you, oh, it has a Retina display. Nobody dare talk about the refresh rate, right? Why? Because you cannot say anything negative about Apple or their latest products in your videos. And I think before they reach Cupertino, before they are seated, they are given a pamphlet or a printout which says that, hey, you dare not talk anything negative about our products because if you do, you will be blacklisted. I'm pretty sure they do not mention that outright, but for those of you who do not know, John Rittinger was blacklisted by Apple. He did make a video about it, and that video is linked in the description of the video. So I do recommend that you do watch that video for sure. So it is clearly evident that Google and Apple, the Pixels and the iPhones, are being held to different standards by these glorified YouTubers and these glorified salesmen. Why? That is because of the fear of not being invited to Apple's events. Apple's PR is super bad and they try to control everything you have to say, which is why I say that these influencers, these people who call themselves tech journalists, they are not tech journalists. They are glorified salesmen who have become slaves to Apple because if you do not praise Apple, you will no longer be invited to their events. You will no longer be a part of Team Apple. There is no hashtag as Team Apple. There's a hashtag called Team Pixel. But privately, a Team Apple hashtag exists, which is why they hold Google and Apple, iPhone and Pixels to different standards, which, in my humble opinion, is not the right thing to do, but it is what it is.